You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WXCO Daily News Roundup for Bull Falls Radio, 98.9 FM and 1230 AM in Wausau.
For WXCO News, I'm Brittany Merlot. The next court date for the Wisconsin teen now involved in an international investigation is May 7th. Stuart J. Waddles has more.
According to federal documents, 17-year-old Nikita Kasip of Waukesha communicated with contacts in Ukraine and Russia about getting explosives and fleeing abroad after his planned attack. The teen, with alleged ties to a satanic cult and neo-Nazi groups, faces charges of homicide for the death of his parents and plotting to assassinate the president. Authorities say his alleged manifesto called Trump's removal key to collapsing the U.S. government. Kasip is being held on $1 million bond, with federal charges not yet filed at this point.
And the merger of two major national mobile carriers is resulting in layoffs. Jimmy Kuska has the details.
U.S. Cellular is planning to lay off thousands of employees across the country, impacting workers here in Wisconsin. The company is being acquired by T-Mobile. According to a filing with state governments notifying them of the mass layoff, workers will be let go beginning June 2nd. The company plans to offer most of the affected workers similar jobs with T-Mobile. In Wisconsin, 44 locations are impacted, mostly retail stores, as well as the company's engineering hub in Brookfield. About 4,100 workers are affected nationally.
And Wisconsin makes an impression for entrepreneurs starting up new businesses. Lisa Hale reports.
3 Wisconsin cities make the top 150 most supportive communities for startup businesses. MarketBeat.com surveyed over 3,000 participants. Access to incubators like Green Bay's Urban Hub and regional supports, in addition to tax breaks and mentorship opportunities, all played into the rankings. Madison ranked highest of the Wisconsin cities at 60. Green Bay comes in at 74th, and Milwaukee makes the list at 102.
President Trump's tariff actions last week were both helpful and hurtful. That's according to Senator Tammy Baldwin. Lisa Hale tells us more.
While U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin agrees that tariffs and other sanctions against countries with unfair trade practices are a useful tool for the United States, she believes that across-the-board tariffs are not helpful.
I do not agree with these across-the-board tariffs. It's bad for families who are already struggling to pay the grocery bill and fill up the car at the gas station. And it's really hard for our farmers, our small businesses, our manufacturers.
Baldwin made her comments on President Donald Trump's tariff actions during a virtual town hall meeting for her Northeast Wisconsin constituents last week.
And Baldwin met with Milwaukee business owners on Monday to discuss what they say are rising costs from President Trump's tariffs. Stuart J. Waddles has the details.
A representative from Lakefront Brewery warned beer prices could jump 25 to 50 cents per case due to aluminum taxes, noting imported hops and malt face similar pressures.
And Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany has introduced a joint resolution calling for the U.S. to withdraw from the World Trade Organization. Congressman Tiffany accused the agency of overlooking unfair trade practices and human rights abuses by China and called it a deeply flawed globalist institution. He also said Congress is only allowed to consider a resolution to withdraw from the agency every 5 years. This comes after Trump's administration worked to suspend payments to the World Trade Organization earlier this year. Due to cuts, the CDC denied Milwaukee's request to help with lead hazards in public schools. Stuart J. Waddles has more.
A local CDC official tells WISN 12 that MPS missing out on assistance comes after mass federal layoffs eliminated its lead experts. Milwaukee reportedly sought help March 26th following dangerous lead levels found in multiple schools. Earlier this month, the senior director of facilities at the district was let go after not being current with a license. 3 MPS buildings are still closed for lead remediation.
And Easter is this Sunday. If you're coloring or hiding Easter eggs, you may feel like you have to take out a loan. Joanne Krulotz has more on egg prices and Easter celebrations.
The internet has offered up a host of alternatives as egg prices continue to be stubbornly high. Influencers are dyeing everything from marshmallows to potatoes. There has been a lot of interest from price-conscious parents as U.S. egg prices increased again last month to reach a new record high of $6.23 per dozen. Relief could be coming. There is evidence that prices are falling and grocery stores may start offering discounts to get shoppers in the door. But even with that, egg prices are higher than ever. That has the idea of coloring potatoes or rocks, which first made the rounds after a 2023 price spike, making a resurgence.
And Wisconsin wildlife officials say bird flu is still spreading across the state, and it's estimated to have killed hundreds of wild birds over the last few months. Department of Natural Resources officials say there was a significant uptick in reports of sick and dead geese in multiple counties in December, as well as die-offs of geese and swans in January and February. The agency is also awaiting test results on samples taken from more than 70 dead sandhill cranes in recent weeks. The Madison City Clerk has resigned, months after nearly 200 ballots went uncounted in November. And as investigations into the errors continue, Savannah Tomei-Olson has followed the story from the beginning.
Mary Beth Witzel-Bell has been at her post for almost 20 years. She's been at the center of the uncounted ballots case when 193 absentee ballots were found after the November election. The mayor's office said Witzel-Bell didn't notify anybody about it until weeks later. The city opened its own investigation, as did the Wisconsin Elections Commission. The commission has the power to determine that the clerk acted improperly or even illegally, and the next part of their investigation would likely include asking people to sit for depositions, including Witzel-Bell. And then last month, she was placed on paid administrative leave. In a statement from Mayor Satya Rhodes-Conway, she thanked Witzel-Bell for her service. Madison City Attorney Michael Haas has been acting as interim city clerk.
And Air Wisconsin has announced even more layoffs. Lisa Hale tells us more.
Back in January, the Appleton-based company announced layoffs for more than 500 workers in Appleton and Milwaukee. Last week, the company added another 128 positions to that list of reductions. The layoffs will be temporary for unionized employees, but permanent for salaried employees and management. Temporary furloughs start this month. Most layoffs will happen on June 1st.
And Wisconsin's 2025 spring turkey season starts today, and it runs through May 27th. If you want to hunt, you'll need a spring turkey license, wild turkey stamp, and a valid harvest authorization. A full list of hunting regulations and hunting areas are available on the Wisconsin DNR's website. Hunters must also remember to register their turkeys by 5 p.m. the day after they harvest it. I'm Brittany Merlot for WXCO.
The Crew shuts out the Tigers. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers beat Detroit 5-0, thanks to the pitching staff, led by starter Quinn Priester, holding the Tigers to just one hit and no runs. Pat Murphy and how GM Matt Arnold and the Brewers scouts found the 24-year-old right-hander.
It's hats off to them for finding a guy in AAA that can come and give us two pretty good outings so far, and looks like he's a lot to work with, and great kid and competitor, and seems like, once again, they strike again. Matt Arnold and his posse.
NBA, the Bucks holding practice, getting ready for Saturday's playoff game at noon against the Pacers. College football, the Wisconsin Badgers have lost their starting left tackle for the season due to a torn ACL. Head coach Luke Fickell on tackle Kevin Haywood.
Obviously, I think he's going to have surgery, so we're probably going to lose him and probably not going to get him back, obviously, even for the season. So that was one that's going to be really difficult and tough. But, it's also a part of the game.
That's the Badgers' Luke Fickell. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Yesterday in the Hollywood Beats, I reported that White Lotus Season 3 star Amy Lou Wood was hurt by the portrayal of her character during a sketch on Saturday Night Live last weekend. She called the portrayal mean and unfunny. Wood took to Instagram to clarify that she was not upset with Sarah Sherman, the actress who played her in the sketch. She also said Saturday Night Live reached out to her and apologized privately. Katy Perry was in space for 8 minutes aboard a spacecraft sponsored by tech company Blue Origin. The spacecraft crossed the outer space barrier carrier for a few minutes before coming back down to Earth. One of Perry's space mates, Gail King, said Perry sang "What a Wonderful World" as they floated along. Blue Origin is owned by Jeff Bezos, whose wife, Lauren Sanchez, was also on board the flight. This marks the first time in history 6 women have gone into space on a mission that achieved almost nothing while wearing bell-bottoms. Money well spent. Here's a film that might amuse you if you're just in the mood to sort of zone out. The Amateur, starring Rami Malek, is what I would describe as halfway decent entertainment on the big screen, but there just isn't a whole lot there. Malek plays a CIA analyst who wants to avenge the death of his wife. He does just that, and there are some interesting scenes involving his revenge, but nothing is ever really explained. It's directed well, and there are some cool scenes and a good pace, but it lacks substance, and frankly, Malek seems miscast in his own film. That's right, he's also a producer. Get ready, folks, the playoffs are right around the corner. Of course, I'm talking about the music competition show, The Voice. Season 27 playoffs start in late April, and the show is adding what they call mega mentors in Sheryl Crow and Leanne Rimes. The two will be on opposing teams led by Michael Bublé and John Legend, respectively. The Voice airs Monday nights at 8 p.m. on NBC. I'd love to be a mega mentor. HBO's The Last of Us Season 2 is finally here, with the first episode airing last Sunday night. The wait seems to have been worth it for viewers as well as the network, which says Season 2 viewership for the premiere was up 13% from last season's debut episode. Sunday night's show drew 5.3 million viewers compared to 4.7 million for Season 1. The Last of Us Season 1 ended with a total of 32 million viewers. New episodes drop Sunday nights on Max. Britt Lower's star is on the rise as she will join the cast of Sender, a horror film starring Jamie Lee Curtis, who is also producing. This will not be a huge leap for Lower, generally speaking, as she's had plenty of psychological horror film training on Apple TV's hit show Severance. Deadline reports that Sender is based on a short film by director Russell Goldman called Return to Sender. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Hi, meteorologist Brandon Bormans. A nice mid-April day with a good amount of sunshine and a break from the wind as well. High temperatures in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy skies tonight with lows in the mid-30s. On Thursday, increasing clouds, scattered showers developing in the afternoon, highs near 60. It's 35 at our studios.
That's your WXCO Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at bullfallsradio.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.